cover all 9,000 taste buds, aerate it, warm it up, driving up that top note, that cream, pure vanilla, sweeteners. That's a 10.
How's it going? Welcome back to another great video here on the Savior Show. Welcome, my boys. If you're new to the channel, make sure you join the channel, subscribe. It takes 2 seconds, and I know, whoa, okay, buy me some drinks first. Don't just ask me to subscribe, you goddamn little whore. But it does just take 2 seconds, and that 2 seconds means the world to me. Support an independent show, a channel that calls out for corporate bullshit and exposes the establishment. And yeah, just subscribe, you won't be disappointed. Join the Savior Empire today. And if you like gaming reviews, retrospective game videos, and philosophical content, you've come to the right place. So yes, this is my review of Atomic Heart, my Atomic Heart game review, and I'm very excited to be doing this because this game we've been waiting for a very long time. I remember watching the announcements and the small trailers, the snippets a long time ago, and I thought this looked weird, this looked experimental, and that's what I want, because the gaming industry, the modern day gaming industry, is being destroyed by the AAA gaming developers who are greedy, who are malicious with false advertisements, microtransactions, and basically releasing unfinished games just so they can fix it 6 months down the line. That's bullshit, okay? That's not how the gaming industry used to be. That's not how it should be, okay? And I'm tired of it. And we need innovation. We need new creative gameplay mechanics and ideas. And Atomic Heart does seem to have quite a few tricks up its sleeve. So I hope you enjoy my review of Atomic Heart. Grab yourself a nice cup of tea or some Markiplier's milk. Slurp it down.
What's in it? A syrup. Yes, here we go again. Lift the jug and fill my mouth with that thick, sweet juice.
And maybe consider becoming a member or giving a small donation to support this independent channel so I can buy some proper lighting. So many people might not know this, but Atomic Heart has been in development for a very long time. In fact, 7 years, which is pretty insane. And originally, Atomic Heart was actually going to be a movie. Yeah, that's right, a movie, not a video game, which is quite interesting and pretty cool. And it's truly coming from a place of artistic vision and creative integrity, which is why I am passionate about this game, and that's why I love games like this, because as you can tell by the art style, that's what got everyone interested. That's what makes this game special, the unique creature designs, the enemy designs, and this interesting alternative history take on the Soviet Union. And yes, this is a Russian game, okay? And I'm not going to get into that. I've already made a separate video talking about the stupid boycott.
There are other things that need to be taken into account here, like the whole spectrum of human emotion. You can't just lump everything into these two categories and then just deny everything else.
So first, I need to point out a misconception that many people might have of Atomic Heart. This is not actually that similar to BioShock. I know lots of people want to compare this to BioShock, but from what I've seen and what I've managed to get my hands on with the preview gameplay, what I've managed to actually try out, this is not an immersive sim. It's not like Prey, it's not like BioShock. This is a story-focused shooter with open world aspects / open zones, okay? It's not an immersive sim. It doesn't give you huge amounts of player agency, which is a shame, but the story here is what's interesting. The creature design is what's interesting. The level design, the enemy design, the world design, the artistic integrity of this world is what makes this interesting, and the actual fun combat and all of the other stuff that I'm going to get into. So let's break it down, shall we? Atomic Heart is set in an alternate universe, basically, where the Soviet Union invented crazy technology to kind of unify consciousness and AI, but it goes wrong. I find it funny that the people who want to boycott this game, saying it's propaganda, even though this is a dystopian version showing exactly what's wrong with the Soviet Union, I mean, it's just ridiculous, but there you go. So the actual first-person combat. Okay, let's talk about this because I'm kind of mixed on this. It's a great mixture of realism but arcadey fun at the same time. You know, your weapons feel weighty, the bullet when it impacts the enemies feels great. You know, that penetration feels pretty moist, pretty tight, but at the same time, the actual gunplay itself is arcadey. And the one thing that I don't like about this, especially in the early game, hopefully this improves as you level up, but enemies, especially in some areas, can feel very, very, very spongy. It's incredibly relentless in the open world sections of this game, where you don't really get a moment to just breathe and enjoy the atmosphere. You do get moments like that, but there are a lot of enemies, and they are relentless, which is good because it is challenging. The combat is engaging, and it's not easy, okay? It's not a hand-holdy type video game, and the AI is relatively smart, especially since they're robots. You know, it's good to see that they're not just brain-dead idiots that just stand around, but they are relentless, and sometimes they do feel a bit spongy. And I do find that there is some inconsistency depending on, you know, how much you've upgraded your weapons. In any video game, a headshot should be instant. You know, it should be an instant kill, or a shotgun to the face. If you're a robot, if you're an animal, whatever, unless if you're some giant monster, okay, it should be an instant kill. But in this, it's one of those kind of, you know, Far Cry type spongy mechanics where if you upgrade your weapons, if you're fighting a certain enemy, sometimes you're gonna get an instant death, sometimes you won't. And especially in the early game, enemies can feel a bit spongy, which I didn't like. Especially when you mix it in with the elemental powers that you have, it does become a lot less spongy, but that's just something I have noticed. But the actual gunplay itself is fun. It's, you know, very fast-paced. It does remind me a lot of Doom, the newer Doom games, and Wolfenstein and stuff like that. But I do like the fact that it feels weighty, especially with the melee combat. You know, it does feel very much like something like Dying Light. So if you like, you know, heavy melee combat where it's not instant, you actually have to build up your power strikes and stuff like that, then yeah, this is pretty satisfying. So now onto one of my first negatives, and that is the voice acting. Of course, you can't expect the voice acting, especially the English voice acting, to be amazing, considering this is not an English game. But yeah, sometimes the dialogue can just be a little bit corny, a little bit, I don't know, just slightly immature in some ways. Just some of the lines now and then make you facepalm a little bit, and especially when it's such a cool and interesting designed world. And this type of game, I want to be, you know, taken seriously. I don't want it to be kind of like a joke like Wolfenstein. That's just my personal preference when it comes to this game, because the art design is so incredible and the world is so interesting, and it does take itself seriously. The dialogue just does a 180 and it feels just completely off. It does have jokes in there now and then, but you know, it's just like the tone is slightly off and the writing isn't exactly the smartest, which is a bit of a shame because I know they have a lot of interesting things to say in this narrative, and it deals with a lot of interesting subjects. And when you enter these legacy dungeons, you just have more and more questions, and you know, you have to kind of piece together the story as it unfolds, which I like, but I just feel like the writing could have been a bit better. The next positive is the soundtrack. The soundtrack is very nice. It's very bassy, it's very heavy, industrial. And as a music producer myself, if you don't know, I make a new kind of synth electronic based music. Go check it out on Spotify. You will like it, I'm sure. You know, I do like this. It does get you fired up and pumped up. It is very much like a kind of cyberpunky industrial type techno, which is something that I basically create myself. So yeah, I do like it. The only thing I will say is it is a bit relentless, and sometimes it just doesn't know when to shut up and just let you soak in the atmosphere. And there are more heavy tracks than there are soft tracks. Another positive for this Atomic Heart game review is the opening. Okay, this very much does remind me of BioShock Infinite and its opening, where you kind of get to explore and soak in the culture of this alternate history. In this case, it's an alternate Soviet Union, you know, type universe, and it's great. the intro, you want to take your time because you won't get anything like that again. And I just think it's a nice way to introduce you to the world. Now, the next thing is one of the reasons why Atomic Heart gets compared to Bioshock so much, and that's because of the elemental abilities that you have. You have elemental abilities like shock, ice, and what's it called? Telepathy, where you can, move things by using the Force, which is pretty cool. And I wouldn't say it plays off of each other as well as something like Bioshock, but it does have more interesting ways to engage with the elemental, powers that you can get and that you can level up. Because I know, like in Bioshock, for example, if there was a pool of water, you could shock it and it would basically fry all the enemies. With this, it has similar stuff where you can use your abilities to, basically turn on certain machines and enemies to basically fight the battles for you, or use the environment around you to basically destroy the enemies, which is pretty fun and engaging, and it's a nice change of pace from, oh look, it's another red barrel, shoot this red barrel to make it go boom boom. It adds a little bit more dynamics to the open environments, and basically a way to inflict damage by using the environment around you, which I like. The next positive is, of course, the difficulty. I've already kind of mentioned it. This is a hard game. It's not going to hold your hand. There isn't a lot of bullshit HUD elements in this game, and you can customize it, so I like that. And the boss battles are great, truly a highlight of this game, because usually first-person boss battles can feel a little bit spongy and just like kind of gimmicky, but Atomic Heart does a great job of the boss battles, and having interesting moves that you have to counter and interesting ways to actually engage with them, and it doesn't feel that gimmicky, which I like. Now remember, in this Atomic Heart review, I am only showing you, the previously released gameplay footage, because I can't show you any new footage, and also that does help save spoilers and stuff like that, so just bear that in mind. Like I said, this is based off of the preview early build version of the game. So you do have a little friend, a little robot buddy with you, just like Destiny. You can't escape those robot friends, AI is your friend. I think that's a kind of a propaganda piece that a lot of games are trying to instill into people. So yeah, your magical little glove / AI friend will be talking to you, and actually it's pretty funny. It's much more engaging, and basically has a lot more personality, in my opinion, compared to the Destiny annoying, hobbit robot companion that you had. Looting in Atomic Heart is actually pretty good, because you don't have to spend ages like you do in Bethesda games, looking at a menu. You can just suck up all of the loot with your magical gloves. You can, actually take your time and pick apart different pieces of loot, but you can just easily suck it all up, which is nice. And I wish more games had that feature, like in The Last of Us, because no one wants to basically spend all of their time just pressing, square or X or whatever it is to pick up, pieces of shit constantly. That's not fun, okay? So this is a nice way of just like getting resources, getting the resources that you need to upgrade and ammo that you need. Now onto the open world, or should I say more of an open zones that you get access to. You can actually travel around this in any way you want, by car, by air, or by just walking around. But like I said, if you're not in a vehicle, you do get mobbed a lot, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, the open world is nice. The only problem that I do have with it, and maybe that's just from what I've actually got my hands on so far, is the assets that they use are reused quite a lot, and the open world can feel rather empty and a little bit dead. It would be much more interesting if there are like actual more NPCs to engage with and stuff like that. But yeah, it does feel a little bit empty. Hopefully that opens up more as you progress in the game. I don't know, but yeah, so far it does look like there's a lot of just reused assets and stuff like that. Let's just finish now with the negatives by saying that the open world objectives, okay, can feel a little bit Ubisofty and, kind of reused and recycled. I think it's about time we have more interesting objectives than just the standard kind of Ubisofty approach of take out this tower, blow up this thing. Atomic Heart is good with its puzzles in the legacy dungeons that it has, but in the open world sections, it is rather samey that we've seen in other open world games, and that is a bit disappointing to say the least. That's about it. That is my Atomic Heart game review. I think this is great purely on an artistic, level and game world level. The story is what keeps you interested. In many ways, the open world does feel a bit generic. The combat does feel a bit clunky now and then. And the voice acting and writing isn't the best, but all of the other stuff is so strong that it keeps you interested and engaged. And the combat, when it gets flowing, and when you're fighting big bosses, or you've got weapons that feel powerful enough to take on the enemies, and the music is kicking in, that's when it feels great. I'm just a little bit disappointed that even though Atomic Heart innovated when it came to the puzzles, when it came to the, story, the game world, and the kind of location of this game setting, it didn't exactly innovate so much with its gameplay mechanics, and basically stuck with the traditional approach. But I just wish there was more. I wish it was a bit more of an immersive sim and let you have more player freedom. You can, of course, tackle different objectives in any order and get different quests and stuff like that. But I just mean in the sense that you can, complete these in different ways, which you can't exactly. But you can still cater to your playstyle if you want to be more melee focused, if you want to be more focused when it comes to your weapons and stuff like that. But yeah, I do think this is a good game, but it's not like a game changer. So yeah, that's my review of Atomic Heart. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, if you did, make sure you do subscribe and check out my other videos. I'll see you in the next video.
Oh yes, this is peach syrup again. Lift the jug and drink some more, and drink some more. Drink the lot. This isn't peach, this is... My mouth is full of oil. Thick cooking oil. I wonder who put that there.